Russo'sBrand.com.
What does everybody want?
Where the pros are the pros. All right, Jeff, what do you got for Al, bro? Come on.
Well, I don't know how I missed this, but last month, TMZ interviewed Mercedes Mone on the street. They asked her if she had creative control in AEW, and she says, yes, I have creative control, but I work with Tony Khan very closely, so it's a great combo.
Well, I think Haley J's got a creative control, doesn't she? Bro, can you imagine? Bro, listen, I loved her to death. I love her character. I loved having her and her mom on the show. Bro, can you imagine a young Haley J with creative control, bro? Al?
I can't imagine anybody giving anyone in any company creative control. That's the death knell. You can't do that.
You can't.
You cannot. They can have input. They can have ideas. They can give suggestions. But at the end of the day, they cannot have any type of actual creative control. They can't. Your job as the booker or whatever, or writer or whatever goofy name you want to call it now, is that you need to be responsible for and have a vision that you see the whole forest. Mm-hmm. You see every tree in the forest and how every tree interacts with every other tree. And you're always tending the forest and doing what's best in the interests of the entire forest, not just one singular tree.
Al, you're like Ranger Smith. You're like Al. Wait, hold on. Are you the Ranger Smith of professional? You sound like Ranger Smith a little bit. I like this. I like this forest analogy. Very nice.
You like that? Yeah.
Go ahead, Ranger Al. Go ahead.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Yes, go ahead, Ranger. I love that. You're dead on. I love the analogy.
But by human nature, you can't deny it. By human nature, a wrestler, an individual wrestler is going to be so close up to their own tree. The only thing they see, the only thing they care about is their own tree. That's it, especially these days. At least back in the day, a wrestler could be pulled back a little bit. They were always removed to where they would see how some of the immediately surrounding trees could affect their tree and how they could do business. These days, they're smack up against it. They can't see nothing but just their tree, their interests, and they're going to look out for them. You, as the booker, have to have an overall vision and direction that benefits everyone, and then you only operate on two principles, one of trust and the other of respect. And you don't get either one of those without having the other one first. And you cannot violate that trust or respect that your vision, your direction, your ability to see the entire forest is ultimately going to benefit everyone. So that you can now go to someone and literally, as they're standing right there against their tree, go, hey, bro, I need you to kind of take 2 steps back tonight so that this one tree can take 2 steps forward so that all the trees can flourish. And if you give someone a talent, creative control, they're not going to do that. I don't care what they think or what they'll tell you. That is probably the biggest mistake. You can have talent give you ideas, suggestions, and you, the booker, filter all of that in your vision and direction for what's best for everyone. But you cannot have an individual performer go, no, my character wouldn't do that. You don't even know who your character is.
Yeah.
So how do you know what they'll do or not do? You just don't want to do it because you feel that it's going to make you look weak, or it's going to make you look, you don't want to lose, or you don't want to this, or you don't want to that. Sometimes, crazy as it may seem, it's in your best interest to do things that you don't on the very first glance see as in your best interest. That could put us in a position to where you and the other person could now go forward and make a lot of money. But instead, you're short-sighted because you can only see your tree, and you are going to tell me no. And you cannot, I'm telling you, man, that is the number one mistake, is letting the inmates run the asylum to any degree.
And now you're not even talking about the other side of that. I mean, what everything else said, I 1,000,000,000% agree. But here's the other side of that. What about the animosity it creates in the locker room? Because now you got a Britt Baker. Now you got a Britt Baker who's been there from day one, never had creative control, has been working with the company for 5 years. And now you got Rebecca De Mornay walking in the door, and she's got creative control. What about that side of it, Al?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to create resentment. But let's stop with this bullshit of a person who's been there from the beginning. Again, we talked about this last week. We talked about equating normal office interaction and normal employment guidelines to wrestling. You can't do it. They are two different worlds. You just made a statement that I've heard how many wrestlers say, well, I've been here for this much time.
But employees of
that
businesses
doesn't matter. You're not an employee.
But employee of a business says the same exact thing.
Correct. Employees of a business say the exact same thing. You're absolutely right.
But they're employees of Tony. He's got them under contract. He's got them under contract.
That still doesn't change the situation. That it is, no matter how you structure it, it still comes down to the very nature of the wrestling business. I hate to break it to you, but it still comes down to that a wrestler is in business, a business partnership with the promoter. It doesn't work any way else. It's not, oh, I'm going to pay you to perform the task of wrestling. Your job is not to wrestle. Your job is to use your ability to wrestle to tell a story, to motivate an audience to want to pay to see you. That's it. And your only value is how many people are willing to pay to see you do it. If zero paid to see you do it, that's exactly what your value is. The more you are able to motivate more of those people to pay to see you do it, the more ability you have to negotiate a better contract. And at the end of the day, this is the way the wrestling business works. If Guy A can convince you, the promoter, to pay him $100 to paint the fence because you're that good, but Guy B can only convince him to pay him $10 to paint the fence, are we to punish Guy A because he was able to convince the promoter to pay him $100? Or should we motivate Guy B to make a better negotiation the next time?
All right, fair enough. You don't need to get hot
apply.
You don't need to get hot at me, Al.
You can't apply, but that I'm not. I'm getting hot at the general view that everyone now holds about the wrestling business.
But that's human nature. That's human nature, though. That's human nature. You were talking about human nature. Yes, it is. For Britt Baker to be sick, for Britt Baker to be there, that's human nature.
You're right, but it has nothing to do with the length of time that she's been there. It has to do with the fact that Mercedes Mone was the one who thought, hey, let me see if I can get this.
Fair enough.
She did. Well, hey, that's not on her.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I agree with that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Because now the word gets out amongst the locker room. So now when Britt Baker's
contract comes
up,
yes.
She goes, you know what? If she's smart, she goes, I'll just stay at the same rate, but give me creative control.
No, what I would ask for if I was Britt Baker is I'll stay at the same rate, but give me creative control over Tony Khan. Let Britt Baker gets to book Tony Khan. Oh my! I would take that deal. I would not even get. Don't pay me. Let me just have creative control over Tony Khan.
But the reason I get so worked up about that is because I deal with that attitude.
I know you do. I know, Al. I know.
I've been here X amount of time, so really, I deserve.
Yeah,
I'm entitled.
Yes.
To be the champion.
Yep.
You're not going to draw as the champion. And they all want to be. I just had a conversation with a young wrestler a couple of days ago. Called me up. He's going, I want to go up the card. I want to be featured and go into a different division. I want to work for the heavyweight title. And I want to be the wrestler that
was it Disco? No, okay.
No,
Sorry.
it was Rudy Charles. It's all speculation. We don't know. But he's like, and I want to be the guy that's in the ring longer and, doing, more pertinent matches. I go, wait a minute. Do you realize what you're asking? And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, you do understand that if you are in the main event, you now have a responsibility to everyone else on the show. You're now responsible to motivate enough people to come in the building to where everyone makes more money. That's your responsibility. Like if I give you the title, I'm just giving you a title. I'm giving you the title because we all believe, all of us, not just me, the booker, but everyone else in the locker room believe you having it's going to draw us all more money. And now that's your responsibility. That's why we all used to say to the champion or the guy that was on top, we'd go, hey, thanks for having me on your card. Wasn't a joke. Mm-hmm. It's used as a joke now or as a put down or as a tongue in cheek in the locker room. I hear guys say it all the time. Or thanks for the house. The only time you hear it is now when the house is the shits and somebody will say it as a but they don't really care because they're guaranteed a certain amount of money no matter what the house is anyway.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we weren't guaranteed jack. And if a guy that was on the top of the card was drawing the house, we genuinely were like, hey, man, thanks for the house. Thanks for having me on your card. Because the guy at the top of the show, not only did he have the responsibility for the rest of the show, but he also had a little bit of stroke, which meant he could tell the promoter, I don't want that guy on my show. I don't want him on the card.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't get to work. And if you didn't get to work, you didn't get paid. If you didn't get paid, you starved. And there were instances where guys would do that. Top guys, you get heat, guys in the lower card would get heat with top guys, and they would starve them out. They'd, leave them home.
Yeah.
The guy starved them out of the territory. But we need to stop equating the wrestling locker room to a normal employment environment. It is not. And and the wrestling or entertainment business in general does not operate the same way of, well, I've been here with the company for X amount of years. So I deserve to have this, to be pushed. I deserve to. No, you don't. If you can't get yourself over with the opportunity of being sent out there to a certain level, then no, you're not entitled to be pushed. You're not. You've got to claw and scrape and drag yourself to that point to where you can make it and get it. Yeah. And then you've got to fight to keep it. That's how we end up, our business thrives. That's how we drive television ratings and live event attendance and merchandise sales and pay-per-view buys, which we don't have pay-per-views anymore. We have premium live events. But if nobody's watching them, if nobody's tuning into those premium live events, they no longer have a monetizable value to them that now a network has no interest in bringing them on and presenting them because it's not generating an audience. Your job in wrestling isn't to wrestle. Your job in wrestling is to use wrestling to generate an audience, and your value is a direct relationship to that. So quit with this. Well, she was been there since day one. She number of years. So what? She could have been there 20 years.
I'm just saying her point of view, human nature. That's all I'm saying.
Human nature is no matter what she's been, how long she's been there.
Right.
Don't matter when she came into the company. She is going to be resentful and jealous of be another talent getting anything more than her.
Right.
And she should be.
Right.
And she should then be motivated to go out and be of more value by generating more of an audience than the Mercedes did.
You're right.
And therefore put herself in a position to where she can renegotiate.
Yeah.
The problem is that with that belief system or that attitude that at the beginning is there's no motivation on her part to go out and just get over stronger and get over more and generate more of an audience. She's just entitled to it.
Yeah.
This isn't Walmart. You don't get a raise just because of time served. Well, I've been here. This is my 2-year evaluation. I'm entitled to get a raise. I've been here for 2 years. No, nobody else is paying. No more people are paying to see you. So no, you're not getting a raise.
I hope you liked the last video, and remember, man, you can go right now, if you've never been a Patreon subscriber, go right now to patreon.com/Russo TWC and get a free week of Russo's brand on me.
What's up, Brand? This is Jeff Lane inviting you to come hang out with me over on Twitch. I'm live several nights a week playing games, classic and new, currently going through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the new Contra game, and more. So check me out, Jeff Lane 22 on Twitch.
Pick up Mike Durbin's Conan action figure, bro. Look how beautiful this thing is. I freaking love the packaging, man. Look at this. MikeDurbin.com, guys. Help Mike out, man. This is a beautiful action figure, bro. Beautiful. MikeDurbin.com.